Jan friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English.
This could be, I'm saying could be the beginning of the end for Vladimir Putin, and Russia will see a new ruler, I think if not months, at least a few years down the line. Good people, we are clean people, we have nothing to do with terrorism. No Pakistani is saying that. No Pakistani. Every single Pakistani is saying that we did so much for America and now America is doing it.
Jan friends, I'm Major Gaurav Arya and you're watching the Chanakya Dialogues English. Like this video, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to press the bell icon. For the past 2 days, we've been discussing what happened in Russia. We've been discussing about Prigozhin and the Wagner group's revolt against the Russian state, revolt against Putin and the reasons thereof. You're aware of all of that. Now, there was a truce brokered by President Lukashenko of Belarus. And now we have already told you that Prigozhin is going to go with some of his people to Belarus and settle down there. But one thing that is not forgiven in Russia is betrayal. From the time of the Tsars, after the communist revolution and modern day capitalist Russia, which is communist in name only, now it's properly a communist, a capitalist, I beg your pardon, a capitalist country. One thing that is not forgiven is betrayal, and Russians tend to remember it for a very long time. And for people who betray, for traitors, there is no forgiveness. So the head of the Wagner group is going to spend the rest of his life looking, behind his shoulder, looking at the back, because Putin is going to send people to sort out this person. This, I'm telling you, from my past readings of the Russian mind, of how the Russian state works. Putin has done it in the past too. You criticize Putin and suddenly you have a massive heart attack one day. Some guy falls out of the window, 5th floor. There was no reason for that person to believe that he could defy the laws of gravity, but he suddenly takes off from the window for some godforsaken reason. And the CCTV cameras can't figure out why this man is trying to fly on a cold winter night. Plutonium poisoning, polonium poisoning, I don't know, these fancy methods of assassination that, the Russian agencies, erstwhile KGB, has picked up, and Putin will send people to get rid of the head of the Wagner group. Anyway, having said that, Zelensky and Joe Biden, Zelensky, president of Ukraine, and Joe Biden, the president of the United States of America, had a long telephonic chat, and they were discussing how and why this happened and what are the advantages, disadvantages. And Zelensky, of course, went absolutely gaga, and he tweeted saying that I had a lovely interaction with President Joe Biden. I think this entire revolt thing is manufactured. It is not a question of emotions, because at that level, emotions have no role to play. Even if a person is insecure, even if he's feeling hurt or insulted, he will bide his time and do things when things are absolutely there, right? For him, when he feels that all the stars are aligned or all the ducks are in a line, that is when he's going to start shooting. So anybody thinks that, Prigozhin felt very bad one day and he felt humiliated and he said, okay, let me march to Moscow. I don't think that is true. That is my personal analysis. Also to tell you that what is the point of this guy marching to Moscow if he had to take a U-turn in between? Somebody's up to something. And see, either, it could be NATO, as I believe, it's NATO or allied countries or Ukraine, etc. You remember there was a drone strike on the Kremlin? Drone strike on the Kremlin, and somebody said, oh, Ukraine has sent drones. I said, it's a small shadi wala drone. It's a commercial drone. It's a commercial drone. It is not a drone that has been sort of sent from Ukraine, because this drone has to be controlled within 2, 3, 4, 5 kilometers. Line of sight, 2 kilometers, 3 kilometers line of sight. Somebody from within Moscow has crashed that drone on top of that Kremlin dome. Yeah. Somebody has done it. I said this on television. I've said this on the Chanakya Dialogues. It's not possible. It's not possible for a drone to have launched and travel 1,000 kilometers and go to Moscow. No. Could. I'm just saying. I'm not insinuating anything. I'm saying, could this have been done by the Wagner group? Could they have already been mixed up at the highest levels with the Ukrainians? Because suddenly, the Wagner group did a lot of work. Okay, they were created as type of shock troops here. For them to suddenly turn back and start behaving like regular infantry and fighting like regular infantry, then having so many casualties, then getting people out of prison and recruiting them to fight for them, and then suddenly taking this U-turn after complaining against and after having a very public spat with the Minister of Defense of Russia and the chief of their armed forces. All this looks like something out of a play. Somebody has made up these scenes and somebody has stitched them together. And Putin is looking very, very weak. Putin is looking extremely weak. Let's see how US and Zelensky of Ukraine take advantage of this entire scenario. I don't know how it will unfold, but my sensing is that, this could be, I'm saying could be the beginning of the end for Vladimir Putin, and Russia will see a new ruler. I think if not months, at least a few years down the line, because Putin has been considerably weakened. I think he miscalculated this Ukraine thing. Yeah. He seriously miscalculated. Right? China is not going to come in the forefront. China will keep on supporting from behind the back, but China is never going to say that Russia and China are brothers and anybody who touches Russia will face the wrath of China. China will never say that. China is very smart that way and extremely selfish. As a civilization, as a people, as a government, extremely selfish. They will not do anything for anybody else. Okay. Now, there is a book here which I'd like to recommend to you, ladies and gentlemen. This book is called Balidan. And this book, Balidan, is written by Mrs. Swapnil Pandey. She's an army wife. Her husband is a serving officer of the Indian Army, and she's written this book, Balidan. You're well aware of this insignia, and Balidan is essentially the badge or the insignia of the Indian Army Special Forces, or the Para-SF as they are known. This has some of the top heroes of Para-SF, their history, their operators, their operations, specific operations, their family lives. Who are they? What do they feel? So this has a whole lot of stories. I suggest you read this book. I repeat again, it's written by Mrs. Swapnil Pandey. She's an army wife. And this book is called Balidan. So go ahead and buy this book. The link is given in the description below. You'll find it. Just click there and you can buy this book from Amazon. And it's a lovely book. And it contains, all these people you read about in the newspapers. It also has a chapter on your favorite Brigadier Saurabh Singh Shekhawat. It's right there. So go ahead and read about Shekhawat and his exploits and how he got the Kirti Chakra and the Shaurya Chakra and the Sena Medal and the VSM. This fellow wears 4 lines of ribbons on his chest. As a colonel, I've never seen a colonel wearing 4 lines of ribbons on his chest. VSM and I don't know what all. Shekhawat has got everything on his chest. So all these heroes of Para Special Forces, I read how their probation happens and how they are selected and how they fight and what are their loves, what are their losses, what are their victories. Read about them as people, as human beings, and you'll love this book. I would recommend very seriously you buy this book, you read it, and also share it with your friends. All right. Now coming back to our favorite topic, Pakistan. Pakistan is extremely upset with the US-India joint declaration. And Imran Khan obviously said that US and India have reduced Pakistan to a terror sponsor. And Shah Mahmood Qureshi, the reluctant former Foreign Minister of Pakistan, he never wanted to be Foreign Minister. He wanted to be Chief Minister Punjab or Prime Minister Pakistan. He said, I think this is nonsense and, this is a very political statement and all that. But no Pakistani, however senior, whatever level of diplomat he was, including Mr. Zafar Hilali, the great, the one and only, who every day appears on television and speaks with an affected accent, speaks with a fake accent. I'll imitate Zafar Hilali one day for you, okay? On both Chanakya dialogues, Hindi and English. I can imitate him very well, by the way. I'll do an imitation, but not today. Zafar Hilali says, that this is wrong and Modi, he can't say Modi. He says, Modi has done this and Modi has done that. And, India is this thing. And we have spent so much of money, given so many sacrifices in the war against terror. And this is what the US has done to us. This is betrayal. No Pakistani has said that, no, we don't sponsor terrorism. We are not state sponsors of terror. We are good people. We are clean people. We have nothing to do with terrorism. No Pakistani is saying that. No Pakistani. Every single Pakistani is saying that we did so much for America and now America is doing this for us. Now, okay, coming back to the point that you have done so much for America. No, you haven't. No, you haven't. You rendered a service. You have been paid for that service. Right? I give you money to do something. You do that job. We don't owe each other thanks or gratitude. You took money, I gave money, you gave a service in return. And that is it. The relationship between Pakistan and the United States of America has always been extremely transactional because Pakistan has nothing to give. Pakistan has got no industry. Pakistan cannot talk about commerce. It can't talk about the economy. It can't talk about diplomacy. What can it talk about? What does Pakistan have? Can any Pakistani name anything? Except for saying that we are a Muslim country and we have an atom bomb. Forget about your religion. Forget about your atom bomb. My religion or your religion is not important. That I have an atom bomb and you have an atom bomb is not important. Religion is a private matter, and nuclear weapons, the lesser we talk about nuclear weapons, the better it is. Okay? These are weapons of last resort. Let them be where they are. Let's talk about stuff that actually matters. Where do you stand as far as the economy is concerned? Where do you stand as far as diplomacy is concerned? Where do you stand as far as your exports and imports are concerned? Where are you in commerce? Which patents do you have? What kind of brain are you exporting to the world? Who are the Pakistanis who are heading top-class global level institutions? Please tell me. This is how the world goes around. This is how the world functions. And the Pakistanis have been left behind and all they can do is cry conspiracy. America is conspiring against us. India is conspiring against us. But no Pakistani, and I repeat, no Pakistani has said, no, we do not support terrorism and this joint statement is a blatant lie. We don't support it. We don't support it because we do not support terrorism, and what has been written in the joint statement is wrong. No Pakistani said that. Not Zafar Hilali, not anybody. What they have said is that America has taken advantage and America has betrayed our trust. What trust? You took money. You took money. And here is President Donald Trump's tweet to prove it. Editor sir, please put it up. Now, ladies and gentlemen, another news from Pakistan. Islamic State kills Sikh man for his faith in Peshawar, second attack in 48 hours. So, claiming responsibility for the attack, the Islamic State terror group said Manmohan Singh was a follower of a polytheistic Sikh faith. Look at these guys here. The Pakistani Sikh shopkeeper was shot and killed in Peshawar late on Sunday, 2 days after another member of the community ducked and survived a barrage of gunshots fired at him by assassins of the Islamic State terror group. Now, this is what the Times of India says, and Times of India is also dependent upon the news that the Pakistani authorities gave out. I don't think it is the Islamic State. And I don't think you need the Islamic State, Daesh, or the Al-Qaeda to start killing minorities, because common Pakistanis, everyday Pakistanis, shopkeepers, businessmen, school teachers, professors, students, lawyers, they're doing a fantastic job of killing Hindus and Sikhs. Why would they need terrorists of the Islamic State when they can carry out terrorist activities themselves? Why outsource something that you're an expert in? You normally outsource stuff that is not in your expertise or you want to get rid of it. But when your core expertise is terrorism, when your core expertise is killing of minorities, why would you, for heaven's sake, outsource it? Why would you outsource it to somebody else? Let's say the Daesh. I think Pakistanis have killed this Sikh shopkeeper. They killed another person before him, right? And the Pakistanis have just blamed it on Islamic State because the Islamic State is not some sort of a tangible quantity. I mean, they are free floating here and there, somewhere in Pakistan, somewhere in Afghanistan. You can always say that they came from Afghanistan, they killed this Sikh guy and they disappeared in Afghanistan. Now, who's the wiser? Who's the wiser? Who knows? So I think this is basically, the two nation theory basically says that Hindus and Muslims, or Muslims and Hindus and by extension even Sikhs, though Sikhism is a separate religion, but the Pakistanis are against everybody in this world except for themselves. So, they can't live together. Hindus and Muslims can't live together. And if they live together, there'll be problems because they are different philosophies, different thought processes, different civilizations, different cultures, and they need to live separately so as to not cause chaos. So as to not cause chaos is the underlying philosophy of the two-nation theory. And what is happening in front of you in Pakistan is the two-nation theory. The belief of the Pakistani state that Muslims and other religions, Hindus / Sikhs, they cannot live together. That is what the Pakistani state, they should see in India, they should see other countries where people, they might have friction. And there will be friction in large countries, right? But they generally live together, right? And in many cases, they live together very happily. They live side by side. Now, this is not something that Pakistan understands because the country, as I said, built on the edifice of hate, will hate. It will not love. So that is what has happened to this poor Sikh gentleman who was shot dead by quote-unquote Islamic State, which I do not believe for a second. which I do not believe for a second, right? This man has been killed by regular Pakistanis who have blamed it on the Islamic State. And this is just hatred for Hindus, hatred for Sikhs. That's it. There is nothing more to it. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video. Now I'll come to the main interesting portion which all of you love, which is Ask Major. So the first question is 007 Raw. Oh my God. Amazing. Hi Major, my name is Arjun. I'm your big fan. Not fan. Arjun ji, wrong word. Please don't use this. Not fan. This is not okay, sir. I watch all your videos, not just in Chanakya dialogues, but also on other news media as well. And coming to the question, in your perspective, how long do you think will the Indian Defence Forces require to retake Gilgit-Baltistan, considering the fact that it is a treacherous mountainous terrain? Is it really possible to retake POK? Arjun ji, it is definitely possible to retake POK. But I think it's going to be a mixture of diplomacy, Pakistan's own follies, and the military. It will not be a purely military action, and it will have nothing to do with the terrain. It will have nothing to do with the terrain. Right? The Gilgitis and the Balti people don't like Pakistan. The people in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir, which the Pakistanis so proudly call Azad Kashmir, they don't like the Pakistanis because Pakistanis have deliberately kept them backward. They don't have internet connections or stable internet connections. Outside Mirpur, outside Muzaffarabad, there is nothing. There is absolutely nothing. They don't have hospitals. They don't have good universities. They don't have anything there. They don't even have good roads. It's a pathetic place to live. And there is a great demand from the people that we join India. Now they've even stopped saying that we want to be independent. That whole independence nonsense is gone. Now they're saying we want to join India because they see the tremendous progress that the state of Jammu and Kashmir is making, the tremendous progress that Ladakh is making. And they can see it. In many places, they can visually see it, right across, especially in the Neelam Jhelum area. They can, it's there in front of you. So they get very psyched when they see it. And then Kashmiris from our side of the border have now started telling them, gee, we buy fuel for 85 rupees or something like that. And how much do you buy fuel for? He says 350 rupees. And these are my college fees here in Srinagar. What's your college fees? This much. This is the expertise. This is the scholarship that I get. How much do you get? This thing. So these comparisons are taking place between, I would say, our Kashmir and the illegally occupied Kashmir there, which is POK and Gilgit-Baltistan. So the comparisons are taking place, and every single day the people there across the line of control find that they are at a serious disadvantage, and every single day that they spend under Pakistani rule is something that is costing them and their children extremely heavily. I mean, they can't sustain it for longer. The Crusader, wow. Ask Major. Jai Hind, Major Arya, sir. My name is Bhairav. Bhairav ji, Jai Hind. My question to you is as follows. Are the words of Wagner chief and their attempt of armed coup a direct result of foreign, possibly US financing? The reason to this question is the mercenaries are only loyal to Islam. Absolutely. I think, Bhairav ji, I think you're right. And I've been saying this all along. Because somebody needs to fund a war. War means money. War costs a lot of money. It costs a tremendous amount of, war is not free. It is not fought on passion alone. Everything costs money. Every single hour in a war costs millions of dollars, and somebody needs to fund a war. Now, earlier Wagner was being funded by Moscow. Now, since they have turned upon Moscow, who's funding them? Who's funding this, or who funded this entire charge to Moscow? Under whose blessings did the Wagner chief actually do all this? You see, certainly somebody is funding it. Who? US, maybe you're right. NATO, definitely. Something could be happening, I don't know. But one thing is for sure that for a very long time, I think 5 to 6 months, the chief of, the Wagner chief, he was in touch with Zelensky's intelligence people. That is sure, that is confirmed. Many media outlets have covered it. So I don't know what the future holds in this regard, but definitely somebody is behind this, because without backing, you cannot fight a war. You cannot get into a conflict without backing. It can't be done. Unless you have state backing or the backing of very rich group of individuals, or some agency who's willing to fund it. Without funds, you can't fight a war. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, press like, subscribe to our channel, and don't forget to press the bell icon. Jai Hind, Vande Mataram, Bharat Mata Ki Jai.